Today we want to talk about bulk installation and why bulk installation. Generally, we would prefer to do pattern installs because it's a better finish. There's no knives used to actually finish the film around the edges. Less risk, easier to do. But in some cases, like the Range Rover, we have a badge that is lettered, and it's extremely difficult to get those letters all aligned. And in some cases, the letters might not be placed in the same place actually from the factory. The movements are, minimal, but when you imagine that you've got a perfectly cut pattern that needs to fit in a certain position, if you move a couple of mils over to the left or to the right, or the letters are spaced slightly differently than what is on the pattern, you might find that your pattern doesn't actually fit well. The other problem with it is that you're locking in the film from the front of the bonnet around those letters, and then you have to work your way back, and that basically forces you to work the water up against gravity, which could cause multiple issues like silvering, stretch marks, water pockets, all kinds of problems. So how do you remove the Range Rover badge? You can use fishing line or braided fishing line, which is made out of nylon. And basically you just take a piece off, slide it under the badge, and very gently in a sawing motion move up and down between the letters and the painted panel. It is important to clean the panel very well, make sure there's no dust around the actual letter or the badge that you're removing, to ensure that you don't get any scratches whilst you're doing that. Some will stick some masking tape around the badge to prevent scratches forming as you're moving in that sawing motion. So our film's prepared. The next step is preparing the bonnet itself. You can do paint correction, polishing, whatever's required to get the bonnet into pristine condition before applying your film. Be sure to remove any oily contaminants by using a 50-50 alcohol mixture over the bonnet before applying the film. Right, so Ollie and I just took the backing off. We then laid the film up on the bonnet. Extremely important to put enough soapy solution under the film. So cover your bonnet in soapy solution, spray water, soapy water on your film, and then float the film onto the bonnet. The next step is we have to tack the sides in place with a little bit of tension so that we can eliminate any fingers from forming in the center here. That'll then give us the ability to pull down towards the front to eliminate the fingers in the front. But what's more important is that we never want to tack the film onto the actual bonnet, because if we stretch away from that point, we'll get lines, stretch marks, and potentially fingers forming. So we're going to use the adjacent panels, the fender, and the door to tack the film in place. So on the corner, you'll see that the film tensions up against the A-pillar and basically lifts the film away from the bonnet. So you want to release that tension over there by cutting a little relief cut, not too deep because the film is under quite some tension, and that will go down. You can push that down, and from there you can start squeezing out the water. we've set the film. The next step is we've got to get rid of this air pocket. Now, the most natural thing to do is to lift the film here, but in some cases, especially on black or blue cars, you can get lift lines or marks because of the color of the car. Now, obviously, lifting the film up there's a lot of tension because it's already held in place over here on the corner of the bumper. So you want to move that to an area that's naturally open. So what we're going to do is move this air pocket by hand all the way up and follow on with a squeegee to seal that. After squeegeeing out all the water, what we want to do now is go around the edge and make sure there's no raised points, so little fingers popping out into the edge. And what we need to do here is just put a little bit of alcohol into that to get it to stick. But we also want to tension it just slightly so it stays flat. If you don't do this, what you'll find is it'll form little fingers. So as soon as you put the alcohol in there and you tension it the first time, don't release it. At this point, there's no alcohol in there. I'm going to apply that now. Tension it down, put some alcohol on the light, and then make sure it sticks down and stays in that position in order to eliminate any chance of lines forming. Now we've got it completely tensioned. We've got all the edges lying nice and flat. Holly's just trimming off the excess film in the back. We're also going to trim out the vents so that the vents can go back on, the vent covers can go back on. And at that point we'll leave it to rest like this for 20 to 30 minutes and then do the final trims and wrap the edges. So all that's left to do, Holly, is to wrap the edges and finish off the vents. What did you think of that installation?
Yeah, really easy. It's good getting to use the products. I definitely like the regen film.
Yeah.
We've used it over the last couple of months. It's really easy to work with. Yeah, I find it great. It's
Excellent.
really good.
Thank you very much, Holly. It's great working with you.
You're welcome. Thank you.